Now, Liverpool, as has been the theme in this past season, have contract headaches. Now, I have to give it to the hierarchy at Liverpool because we've navigated three difficult contract renewals in somewhat of a acceptable way, because I don't think any Liverpool fan would have expected that Trent Alexander-Arnold would not sign a renewal with Liverpool, but we've seen from the reactions that that was the case. That a lot of people were not happy with it, including myself. I had wished for him to continue with Liverpool, as he had previously told us that his dream was to do, but he's on to Madrid now, and I'm happy with how Liverpool have filled the position that he's left vacant. Now, we've navigated those contracts. We've renewed Mo Salah for 2 years. We have Van Dijk for 2 more years. Now, just when we thought that those contract headaches had ended, we had the looming contract with Konate that needed to be renewed. But throughout the season, he'd been saying that those talks would be ongoing, that he's positive about the talks, but all of a sudden now, with the summer transfer window open, we're seeing news almost on the daily that he's interested in a move to Real Madrid, either this year on a fee or at the end of his contract in the next summer on a free, which we know that Real Madrid is very interested in doing, continuing forward. That is their strategy now. That is their thing. They will get all these players whose contracts are almost coming to an end and already tap them for a move, as we've seen with Trent Alexander-Arnold, as we've seen with Kylian Mbappe. Now, this is a massive headache for Liverpool because, for me personally, I think continuity with Ibrahima Konate would be quite significant and helpful in Liverpool retaining the Premier League trophy this season coming, because if you have that solid partnership at the back and you have Alisson as your goalkeeper with Mama Dashvili playing a lot of the minutes, sharing them with him. We've seen Alisson's injury record, but I think the continuity of a solid partnership between Konate and Van Dijk would help us with the younger defenders coming in and out to not have such a heavy burden to bear, to all of a sudden become the starting centre back for Liverpool pairing with Van Dijk. Or even if we bring a centre back, I would prefer that we bring a centre back while we still have Konate, so that the starting position for that centre back is not as that they don't come under so much pressure coming in, because even though they'd be playing with Virgil van Dijk, I think we've seen that Arne Slot, when it comes to especially that centre back position, winning your duels and performing cleanly and well is very good. We've seen with Gerald Kwanzaa in the very beginning game of the season last year that Arne Slot will not take anything less than 100% from that position. Now, we do have Joe Gomez, who can play in that position, and he's one of my favorites. I think he's one of the fan favorites at Liverpool, but we know his injury record, and we know that he's more of a utility player, that we have him on reserve to use when we need a left back, when we need a centre back, when we need a right back for emergency purposes. So I think he's good for that, and I think Liverpool are going to keep him for that very purpose, but I don't think he can be a relied upon centre back going into a season because of his injury record. So the continuity with Ibrahima Konate would be what I would expect, or what I would prefer rather, that the club do. But given the situation of Trent Alexander-Arnold going on a free, I don't think I have the appetite of a player who's going to run down his contract anymore. So I'm really torn, and part of me really just wants Liverpool to just sell him this season and figure out a solution already, instead of waiting another season and still have that problem at the end of that season, unless if they're hopeful that a contract solution will be reached with him, even if it's a short-term renewal, and then still be able to sell him at the end of next season for a fee. Because we've seen with the players who've left before how much help their fees have become to us rebuilding the squad. We've seen with Henderson, Fabinho, Sadio Mane, Bobby Firmino, I think all left in the same season. And even though we really didn't want a lot of them leaving, I certainly didn't want Sadio Mane leaving at that time. But the money that we got from them, from Saudi and from Bayern Munich, helped us rebuild the midfield that we currently have. So selling players for fees really helps contribute towards squad building in other positions for the future. So let me know what you think about the Ibrahima Konate situation and what you guys would prefer in the comments. But another headache that we have is Luis Diaz contract problem. I don't think this one is particularly a contract problem because he's still contracted to Liverpool, I think, for the next 2 years. But he, according to reports, has a desire to move to Barcelona, and there's a desire from Bayern Munich to have Luis Diaz in their team. And this creates a problem for us because we saw how pivotal he became in the past season, not only sharing those minutes with Cody Gakpo in the left wing, but also playing as a false nine and facilitating very well in that position to create goals for both Gakpo and Mohamed Salah. So I think he was a player who had a very good season last season, and I would expect him to have an even more amazing season this coming season. But I think him wanting to leave, if we can get the fee at the valuation that Liverpool is looking for, then I'm more inclined to being in favor for that sale. One, because we can still get a good fee because of the contract that we still have with him. But secondly, I think the market for his replacement is much better than the market for finding another Ibrahima Konate in that position. So you can understand my hesitation about that particular move. So with Diaz, if he leaves, we have Gakpo who can still play in that left wing position and I think play very well. And Florian Wirtz can play in that position as well. Szoboszlai actually played in that position for his previous club, Red Bull, before he came together with playing at the number 10 position. So we have a few players already in the team. We have a few solutions internally, but also because we are linked with strikers coming in, I don't think we're going to have as major a problem if we sell Diaz than if we sell Ibrahima Konate right now. But the reality is we might need to sell both. Now for Diaz, at least there's been an offer from Bayern Munich, but the problem with that offer is that as it stands, the offer does not meet the valuation that Liverpool have for him, which is at 100 million, and we'll see further developments in and around that contract. But I think it is also fair to speak about the situation for Andrew Robertson, because at the beginning of the transfer window he was heavily linked with Atletico de Madrid, and that move seemed to have quietened down. While I would prefer keeping him as a utility player in the squad and as that sort of experience at the back, I think Kerkez at that left back is going to play more minutes than Robertson. So it's a matter of whether Robertson will accept the limited minutes that he will get this coming season. Then I'd be happy to keep him. But we've seen with Henderson in the past that some of these experienced players still want to play more minutes than the club can offer. Henderson had that conversation with Klopp. It was frank and honest, and Henderson decided that getting that move would be much better. And on Henderson, he'll be coming back with Brentford to the Premier League, so we'll see him play, and I hope he has a good role at whatever amount of minutes he's going to play for Brentford. So Andrew Robertson is going to continue probably playing for us with limited minutes, because I haven't heard reports of a move continuing for him. But that then brings a problem for Tsimikas, because he's also there as left back. Are we gonna have three left backs on the books and sharing minutes? Because I think in a publication with in a conversation with a Greece publication, Tsimikas spoke about playing limited minutes at Liverpool and winning titles is much better than going to another lesser club basically and playing a bit more minutes but not achieving the stuff that you're achieving at Liverpool. Now, I'm not sure if Liverpool is going to keep all three of them, given that we still need funds to come in to continue in the transfer market with the striker possibilities that we are linked with, and we are linked with a very expensive one with Alexander Isak. So it's going to be interesting to see what Liverpool does in those positions. And then we have other contract conversations to navigate around the midfield, even though the contracts still run for a bit further with Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones, and these ones I don't even want to discuss them for long because I would prefer to keep both. I don't think we are ahead in any way by keeping both of them and playing cameo roles as they did in the previous season. But we've seen the impact that Harvey Elliott had for the England under 21s now with the Euros, and maybe there might be conversations there about the types of minutes that he's looking for, and maybe Liverpool might be willing to hear out offers if other clubs are looking for him so that we can fund other players coming in. Let me know what you guys think and what other contract situations have I missed out on, and leave a comment. Like the video if you found it interesting, subscribe to the channel so we can continue to grow.